Hello and welcome to another episode in the Godot Basics tutorial series. In this episode, we will be taking a look at the Camera 2D node. The Camera 2D node is a simple node that allows control of the view camera in 2D scenes. Basically, it forces the screen to follow this node. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Camera 2D inheritance chain. Camera 2D inherits from Node 2D, which eventually inherits from the Node class. This is important because not only do we have properties and methods available to us from the Camera 2D class, we have the position property available to us from Node 2D, and we have access to script lifecycles made available to us from the Node class. Few things to keep in mind. You can have multiple cameras inside your scene tree. However, you can only have one Camera 2D node active at a time. And if no cameras are active on your scene tree, the root viewport will be shown to your player. The Camera 2D node has the property called current. It's a property representative of a Boolean value. By default, it is set to false whenever you add Camera 2D node onto the scene tree. However, when the value of the current property is set to true, that specific Camera 2D node becomes the active camera on the scene tree. On top of that, changing the current property value to true will set all other Camera 2D current property values to false. The Camera 2D comes with a method called make_current. It doesn't return back a value. However, when you call the makeCurrent method, this method will make the current Camera 2D node the active camera on the scene tree. So in fact, you have two ways of setting the current property to true. You either call the makeCurrent method, or you directly set the current property value to true. One popular way of using Camera 2D node is to get the camera to follow your player character when it moves. And this is the basic setup to get that up and running. First, you have your player character. In this case, it's an icon. It has a script attached to it. However, keep in mind that the script being attached to the player is just a script that moves the player's position. The most important thing is attaching a Camera 2D node onto the player. So keep in mind that to get the Camera 2D node to follow an object, in this case our player object, it needs to be a child node of the node you wish to follow. And that's because when the player moves, so will all its children. Now keep in mind that just because the Camera 2D node is attached to the player node that is moving does not mean that our viewport is going to follow the camera. Remember, the Camera 2D has a property value called current, and the current value is set to false by default. That means that even though the Camera 2D node is attached to our player node, when our player node moves, because current is set to false, our player will move. However, our viewport will not change its perspective, because by default, when all Camera 2D nodes are set to false, it is the root viewport that the player will see. And so what you need to do is set the current property value to true. You can do this through raw code by setting the current property value directly, or you can go to the Godot app application, look onto the inspector for Camera 2D, find the current property value, and click the check mark next to on. And this Camera 2D node has its current property set to true, and now when our player moves, our camera will follow our player. Another thing you may want to do is moving the camera without moving the player, and to do that, it's quite simple. All you need to do is move its inherited Node 2D position property value. Now there are issues when using the Camera 2D node, and this is with camera lag. If you experience any camera lag, use the align method. To put it simply, the align method aligns the camera to the tracked node. Now, I personally noticed no issues with lag when moving objects inside of the physics process virtual method. However, there are reports that when using camera inside of the process virtual method, you may experience some lag. And if you do experience some lag, all you have to do is call the align method provided to you by the Camera 2D node. I uploaded a sample project file onto GitHub. What I uploaded to GitHub is basic code. However, it shows you three things. First, it shows you how to get a camera to follow a moving player. The second example is a camera moving without the player. Lastly, in a different scene, I have an example where there are multiple cameras attached to the scene tree and a basic code setup that gets you switching between different cameras. Well, that's all I have for you in this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for clicking the like button and thank you for clicking the subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments section down below. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Have an amazing day.